shatter. Let the bodies hit the floor. Uprising Academy at 95%.
Right now with Hydra building up to this Bear Barrage so quickly.
Oh!
It has things!
Double kill in the back with the pulse bomb from the high ground. Aerial assault with that mine.
Impact se escucha de abajo gritar campeón a Sky Foxes.
Holy cow.
And after 42 consecutive losses, the Shanghai Dragons get their first win.
8 teams enter this weekend.
Oh no, Reinhardt, what are you doing?
We got a clip with minimal information. It's time to break it down. Speed, 25%. Go. Figure out what this man's SR is.
Keep fighting till it's for sure lost. Winnable! Greetings, friends. It's day 5 of this week's NA Contenders Trials. I am here with my co-caster Kenobi, and I am your caster Richrad, and today's match is gonna be a doozy. Kenobi, we have 200 MS going against Uprising Academy, a fight for the spot in NA Contenders October tournament, and it's gonna be a really, really great match to be watching today.
There is everything to play for in this match between both the teams, between 200 MS and between Uprising Academy. Only one can take that spot and go further beyond into Contenders proper in NA for the month of October. And both these teams have had a pretty interesting, I would say, couple of days in Contenders Trials. NA 200 MS are coming off the back of being 3-0'd by Karasuno. Uprising Academy had some pretty good performances so far, and I think both of these teams, if you were to look at them both as just how they've played so far, their rosters, you can definitely say that both of them are deserving of having a spot in Contenders October proper, but realistically, only one of them is going to get it unless some wacky things happen with the math. Math isn't my best subject, so we'll leave that till when the end of all of the games are finished, all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. So, but for this game in particular, it's going to be a doozy, like you mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when it comes to us taking a look at, the even previous NA trials before, where it was back in September, we had Uprising Academy finding themselves in this same position where they were actually knocked out for moving up into that trials or the contenders position and moving out of trials. So they find themselves here once again, making sure that they can solidify their position moving forward and keeping the second place to be brought up into that specific tournament. But again, there is still an opportunity. And if we take a look at the history, though, 200 MS still has quite a mountain to climb.
They do because, I mean, again, they got 3-0'd by Karasuno earlier. I believe that was actually yesterday. Entirely sure. But then Uprising Academy has had that one loss as well. So they are even basically on in terms of their records. In map score, I believe it's just a 1 differential between both of them. It's very close. So it's going to be a close matchup, I believe, between both of these teams. And only one of them, again, can get that last spot in Contenders October proper. And the other one is going to be continuing to stay in trials, unless, again, some crazy thing happens with some of the other we have to look out for. And Rich and I will do our best to update you throughout this game to see how everything is looking, what the current standings are, and where everything's shaking.
And to build on top of craziness and thought process of, what can happen, there's also the new dynamic, which is Trial of Champions. It's the first third-party event to officially be included in the Overwatch Path to Pro system. Prizes include a $3,000 prize pool for the top 3 teams sponsored by Blizzard and 2 final opportunities to be seeded in NA Contenders Trials starting in late October. So the signups are open now for any tier 3 team, and the games will be starting on the 14th of this month. So it's just around the corner. So head over to that elohell.gg/TOC for more information to see if you yourself sitting at home right now thinking, maybe I can be involved in that. totally do it. Again, that is elohal.gg/TOZ. I mean, I'd be wanting to do it at Kenobi, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not good at the game, but sure, I definitely give it a whirl.
Why we talk about it.
Yeah, that's why I'm here and I'm not actually in the game. But it also kind of changes the dynamic, this Trials of Champions, with how the groups are working in Contenders Trials, where it used to be 2 people go to the Contenders tournament, 2 people stay in Trials, and 2 people go down to OD. Now 3 people are going down to OD. So if you lose this, as highly unlikely as it is, if Karasuno on the other end is able to take a pretty significantly good victory in terms of their map pool, they might be able to knock one of these 2 teams out of Trials altogether, which would be a wild roller coaster from fighting for second place in groups to not even being in Trials again. That would be a wild change. And we're going into it, Rich. Nepal is going to be our first map, Uprising Academy versus 200 MS, fighting for a spot in Contender.
Yeah, that spot, that's the golden box of victory between these 2 right now. It's not just the map independently. The golden box is to sit in that seat to move forward into Contenders. So that is a very, very tall stake right now, and really curious to see what kind of, combination and coordination we're going to see with these compositions coming out. But we can already see there's going to most likely be a dive-centric with both teams bringing out a Sombra, and we've seen a lot of that recently.
Yeah, this is kind of the composition. I think that's the standard meta right now. This is what I would argue to be the best composition. There are some teams that run variations of it, but this is the best one so far. You can bring a rush composition as well. And again, I'm going to be looking out for those Sombras. Where are those hacks going? And you can already see a difference where the hacks are going onto the DPS for Uprising, and for 200 MS, their hacks are going onto the tank line. So look out for where those hacks are going and those EMP charges.
Well, even further, yeah, just how quickly that percent can be obtained over time. Tap just minorly ahead at the present, but again, it's nothing significant to really worry about. The control point actually becoming activated at the moment so that you can take it, but both teams still trying to maintain this high ground. A slow, methodical play up top, Uprising dropping down onto the point to look to take it, but the fact that Vigilante manages to get the pick first, but the exchange is way fast, comes out big with the Reaper taking down the counter. And ultimately, the numbers advantage go in favor of 200 MS and manage to take this first. And again, that's very significant from what we know in control map statistics.
Yeah, and the thing about that was Vigilante and the rest of 200 MS had a really nice presence of mind to target down the Moira as much as they could, because they knew Pizza Demons was getting close towards that Coalescence, and if that Coalescence had come out, they probably would have lost. So now it's 200 MS who are starting to accrue that percentage. Like you mentioned, if you take the first point of control, it's usually a good sign that you're going to win the entirety of the map. And we see, again, both EMPs available for both sides. There are support ultimates to deal with both of them. You're going to have to be looking at Druidro and Doby. Are they going to be able to dodge them?
Ooh, EMP comes out early, 5 B-lines, managing to get 5, and there's a return immediately after. The fact that you had Tap out outside of that radius allows a counter. Still a decent opportunity for 200 MS to keep this for a moment longer, but ultimately it will fall short. You've got Mikey with that Winston play in the primal range, just continuing to get Tesla Cannon damage on the remaining members onto this point with the assistance of the Reaper. Self-destruct comes through, but everyone's going to be able to scatter away, survive through it all, and nobody gets hit by the self-destruct.
I also think that the self-destruct wasn't really necessary, Rich, but all in all, it ends up working out for Uprising Academy here. And then really what won that fight for them was the fact that Dobby didn't dodge the EMP. He got hit by it, and there's no sound barrier, no support ultimate to keep him alive. So now Uprising Academy and 200 MS. 200 MS has to use this advantage with the sustain, and there it is.
And it will be that sound barrier to lead in, holding on to that Death Blossom since both support ultimate have been committed to this. Counter self-destruct coming out from False to try and reposition a lot of the members of 200 MS and also bring down that barrier that's come through by the Lucio. Dredro, along with Pizza Demon, still doing a stellar job, continuing to maintain this despite Death Blossom coming out and picking 1, but will it last for long? Not going to be able to. The Micro Rockets and Muse working well in tandem up front, able to take that back and climb from 60%.
And we're a little bit going back and forth between which ultimates are important and which ultimates have the most effect, but now we've reset a little bit in how they look for each of these teams, because 200 MS, they won that fight using both their support ultimates, and if you look at Uprising Academy's support ultimates, Rich, they're not too far ahead of 200 MS, so they've kind of brought it back even, and now they're going to be able to use their ultimate economy in their favor. You can see Felines on the flank here waiting for that EMP to come through. Dredro isn't going to have that sound barrier yet.
Ooh, nice use. Moving into this, Tap was also affected, and Tap has to escape out of this, but again, has one of their own. Looks for the back line, doesn't manage to force out their own. Ooh, but does get taken out, actually, while the EMP was being used, so you're going to have 200 MS manage to secure this and prevent anyone from Uprising from even touching.
And 200 MS there, I think, have a really good understanding of how to run this composition. If you've been watching so far on Elo Hell Esports, you've seen that this is a composition that they like to run a lot. Muse, obviously, a name that is very well known in Overwatch Contenders history. He is probably one of the best main tanks at the Contenders level, and there really puts on a show with that Winston play, getting those dives in. And also, the thing about how he was diving and how he was playing so safe around a lot of the healing that's coming out from his teammates, because that was really what led them to get Coalescence first. And then, like we mentioned, if you get control point first in a lot of these maps, you usually end up winning. And for 200 MS, they're keeping that trend going.
And we'll see if Uprising Academy is managing to turn this back around, bringing it to a third map. A little bit of a shock here coming out on that first map, because we were so, picked on Uprising Academy taking this and how they faced off against Kratos, and as well as 200 MS not being able to take the victory. Moving up, though, you've got Wayfast on the front side, going to be hacked again, focusing those DPS. Feline's doing a stellar job to reduce that amount of engagement or escapability with that, but still
huge
amount of damage. There is going to be a potential quick shadow step. Wayfast actually survives, but it doesn't matter. There is still just a constant pressure from 200 MS. Beautiful timing by Uprising with that skill quick enough, but in the end, it falls short.
And even though it doesn't get the kill there, Rich, the boop just matters so much because Wayfast is not in the fight anymore. He's just off the side. He can't do anything. And 200 MS has the presence of mind to push in aggressively, knowing they have an advantage in the brawl with their damage output. And here comes Uprising Academy coming back. Felines, again, beating Tap a lot in this EMP charge, and he's going to have it for this next fight.
Absolutely, especially when you get now a return from Tap, attempting to get Muse in the backside to prevent the primal range. 3 are going to get hit on the front side of Uprising Academy, both tanks and Wayfast, which again, hyper-focused. Serious attention on Wayfast to reduce that damage to prevent that hard counter onto the Winston, just completely melting any frontline position. And I mean, I wouldn't feel comfortable either if I constantly got picked off in the backline of every fight.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually, he's getting picked on, I think, a little bit by Felines right now with how much that Felines is just perma-hacking him. He's also playing up against the D.Va and Violetta, who's doing a great job of defense matrixing a lot of his advances, and we're at 50% now for 200 MS. Uprising Academy, they have to make this fight happen here with their ultimates, or it could snowball out of their control.
Self-destruct in the top right corner, though, by Violetta. Does actually go down with toss of the ultimate. And this is going to be a chance now for Uprising Academy to take it just because of the minor slip-up from 200 MS, but they're still keeping presence on the point. Felines attempting to use that bubble to survive in the midst of it all, but can't manage to do so as Tap keeps high attention. In the backside, also a defense matrix coming out from False to mitigate it and allow this to be finally swapped over with the sole remaining member. The D.Va gets back into it with that stagger, but it's not going to last long, and it will eventually go to Uprising.
Now, Mikey came in really clutch, booping the D.Va during the self-destruct off the side of the map, and once that D.Va is down, there is no more damage mitigation for the Reaper or anything like that. And the best part about that for Uprising Academy, Rich, is they keep their EMP.
Nice job to lead into that with Tap, but there's going to be now the question of, is there follow-up? Wayfast goes in big up front, but does get booped back in separation from the team, so it doesn't get nearly as much value as Vigilante goes back in with the Coalescence to lead 200 MS back into this, forcing Uprising Academy back and having to digress. This rubber band now attempting to go back into it with the self-destruct does give an opportunity to recontest, but the numbers advantage is still in favor of 200 MS. And honestly, 200 MS is really doing a stellar job bringing this fight to Uprising constantly for as much as we didn't think they'd be able to do so since they lost against Kratos.
And there's the sound barrier. Mikey is actually booped off the side. Felines is coming back with the EMP. I don't think Uprising Academy can win this fight anymore. And they're able to keep the EMP, Rich, which is huge because it is almost impossible right now unless Tap is able to hit a counter EMP for Uprising Academy to get back into this fight and get a nice full fight on the point. It's at 92%. You have to be looking out for these EMPs to get insane amount of value here. Tap is going all the way into the back line.
And this is what you have to have
from
Uprising Academy, but you've got now the EMP in the counter. finale comes in with the Death Blossom, a counter EMP, but there are far too many down. Mikey gets on the point just in time, and Trijo comes in for the assistance to keep this into the overtime. With False now dropping the self-destruct as well, isn't going to be able to do too much as the mech comes back online. Wavefest has to force now this Echo play to attempt a quick re-engagement to get the numbers back up to a decent amount to try and contest, but 200 MS is focus firing. They're able to pick off every member.
Oh,
They're
goodbye.
hacked. Oh my goodness. Way fast. I know all of you sitting at home are probably thinking it because we've been in that match before where you're constantly being hacked. Way fast is literally just fuming.
He's being bullied. It's just, we talked about it a little bit before. He is legit being bullied. And I mean, full credit though to Felines on that Sombra, who is playing it, I would say, a bit better than Tap on the other side. If you're just taking into account the hacks, the amount of important hacks that he's having, the charge rate on his EMP has been at least 20 or 30% above Tap's. And in a meta like this, where Sombra is so important, EMP is the most important ability in this game. And with how quickly Felines is getting his over Tap, it just doesn't lend Uprising Academy a way back into a lot of these fights.
Well, and the one thing I want to focus on too is specifically what you said about the Sombra is the importance of the hacks. Because it's only been like minor percentages. Again, 20% is still a decent amount to pull ahead, but we're not seeing one Sombra over the other lapping. As we've seen before. I mean, we've seen Sombras in some cases, lap getting 2 EMPs to compared to 1. But again, it's the critical hacks that are coming through on that front line and the amount of pressure that's been placed onto Wayfast to have to play more defensively and elude from being collapsed on and taken out of the fight early has been a real trouble for Uprising Academy to respond to. And I'm curious what type of tactics they're going to bring into this next one as 200 MS manages to take this first control map.
And the other thing I'm really interested about when we look about Uprising Academy's team is if we're going to Temple of Anubis next, how are they going to adapt a little bit? Because they could always just, continuously play the standard meta composition with the Winston Diva and Reaper Sombra, but you could also have some other variations. You can bring in Reinhardt's, you can bring in Azaria if you're feeling up to it. So things like that are what I'm going to be looking out for, is the adaptation from Uprising Academy, and if they're able to switch their composition, and if not, how are they going to be able to deal with the ability, or with not the ability, but deal with Felines, who is having a field day right now. Sombra.
Yeah. I mean, when you feel that confident coming out on Sombra and gaining that much value and really putting a halt to how well Uprising has been playing yesterday specifically, where we saw a really great show in coordination and team composition, and to be brought down with how well coordinated Felines was with the rest of the team. Honestly, as you mentioned too, the fact that Muse has also been on that front line being a really pivotal role with that tank coordinated play. I'm looking forward to keeping that consistency between the Sombra and the front line to just allow Felines to do basically whatever they want if we continue to move through these matches.
It seems like whenever I watch 200 MS, they have a really good understanding of their coordination between all of their characters, right? Where it's like they have really good understanding for their ultimate combos, even though we saw that one Diva Bomb didn't necessarily get the value it wanted because he was booped back and in the position he didn't want to be in. But that's when I think about 200 MS, the thing that I usually associate with them is that coordination. And because they're all speaking language, they are all former WGS players, so they have a lot of cohesion to that team. Not to say Uprising Academy doesn't, but it seems to have shown, at least in that first control map, that 200 MS is winning on.
And as we enter in onto this, 200 MS at least feeling quite comfortable knowing that they've managed to take this first map to attempt to secure themselves an opportunity of being that second place position and knocking Uprising Academy out once again. So on this map, again, tensions rise for Uprising Academy to start, realizing they need to get into the right amount of headspace, focusing on what their key direction is going to be, because again, we're seeing double Sombra again, and will Tap be able to come out on top against Felines?
I think here, if you're Uprising Academy, you want to stop the momentum of 200 MS, because if you lose this one, they're going to have all the momentum. It's going to really take a hit on the mental, and it might be that thing about, oh, we've been here before, like we can't go down, we're so close to second again. I think this is almost a must win for Uprising Academy's chances. And as we're seeing them on the defense, they're opting for, instead of the Moira, they're opting for the Ana, which I like a lot, especially in this defensive setup where the Ana can stay back on the high ground, is able to pump out a lot of heals at a very safe area. And it's going to be difficult, realistically, unless Felines is going to go on the flank, for anyone to try and get him and take him.
Yeah, and the coordination that needs to come through to for sure dislodge Pizza Demon on this Ana is going to be very high. A lot from either Felines or the dive to try and separate and bring that support down so it is not consistently fueling this front line of Uprising Academy. So as we continue to see 200 MS move through that side angle to get to that middle high ground, Feline still sticking close, has not yet divided apart just yet as they evaluate the positions, turning on the inside. Finale goes in, does get instantly hacked. Nice job by Tap to again try and reduce that evasion capability that Reaper has when going in onto these fights to be a little bit more aggressive. With this early 40 seconds still continuing, this fight has been going on for some time in this mid position where Muse is really just waiting to rotate for another dive attempt. And you've got now Finale getting a pick, and here comes Felines as well, taking down the counterpart. Tap out of this fight, and now 200 MS in a great position to take this.
I think this should be an easy take for 200 MS, unless something miraculous happens from Uprising Academy. They don't have any DPS rich with them at all. Nice purple from onto 200 MS, but I don't think it is going to be enough.
No, this is for sure going to be 200 MS. Again, as you said, it's a Hail Mary and a prayer for Uprising Academy, even with the staggers coming through to try and stick onto this point. But there is, you know, as we say that, some opportunity to switch it back, because Tap and also Wave Fast are keeping it alive. But it's okay, Dobby's here. I've got socks from a book, and I'm going to be able to be free and just roam free.
Dobby is given Master a sock. Dobby is given you first point. And luckily for Uprising Academy, even though they didn't win that fight, I actually think it was a really good idea to come back and recontest, because they force out the EMP from Felines, which means that the snowball can't realistically happen for 200 MS here because they're walking into an EMP. They have to play miraculously around it to even have a shot of taking this point. Their best bet is to force it out.
Yeah, and as you see, the applied pressure Finale actually gets one early on attack,
Okay.
which is huge to shut down the EMP, and that's going to be now 2 kills coming through with Tree Draw out of the fight, and Pizza Demon immediately after. Both supports have been brought down. 200 MS is a force to be reckoned with right now against Uprising Academy, and as long as you continue to see 200 MS focus fire, pick off the stragglers, even though there's the respawn advantage in favor of Uprising Academy, this can be easily taken, and even if it's not 4.5 minutes, it's a lengthy amount of time to work with, Kenobi.
I mean, Felines is having a field day currently on this Sombra, getting so many key tack targets. Wayfast is coming back in with the Death Blossom. I don't know if it'll be enough. The respawns are closer, though, for Uprising Academy.
Well, and the other part, too, is you had the Self-Destruct come out, zoning the few members again, leaving you into a very difficult position as Uprising. Mikey cannot get back with the Wrecking Ball to stick near this point and is just obliterated with that
Another EMP.
Thing. But again, you're right. The EMP shuts it down. No more survival. That's 2 this round. Are we going to see a 3rd in this extended fight? But Muse claims 2, and this is really going to be 200 MS. It's just a matter of time. I would say that maybe 2.5 minute marker at longest until it would take it, but this could be even in the next 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really good stall, all things considered, from Uprising Academy, but it'll eventually come to an end here. Just a few more straggler kills that they need to get, and it will be theirs. And I mean, but we might actually see Felines get another EMP. He's already at 50% to another one, and they're still contesting on Uprising Academy.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing to really focus on at this point is just there is a lot of resilience to Uprising. They want to stick in these fights, but the most difficult
They're
part
still
is that
contesting.
they're really not able to find
That's the second
best
bomb.
momentum. Like, yeah, it's this constant just dragging out where ultimately we need to see Uprising take this type of resilience and force a lot of that focus into a more coordinated play versus just scratching and clawing to stay in a fight.
Yeah, Felines got 75% to another at the end of that fight, so that was very close to being the dreaded triple EMP in a fight. But I mean, you're right. Uprising Academy, if they can, like, that whole idea of just like getting on the point, staggering continuously, it is 2 CP, obviously. They have Doomfist, they have a lot of these characters that are good at stalling, but the fact that they took like a minute and a half off of that time bank is pretty huge. And, you know, again, I have to credit Felines, who has been having a phenomenal game so far on the Sun.
Mm-hmm.
Every single important hack target that he needs to hit, he's hitting. Every EMP that he has is phenomenal. He's also able to negate ultimates from the enemy team. It's just a Sombra masterclass right now. And in this meta, that's what you need. You need a Sombra player like this. And if you have one, they can carry you like Felines is carrying 200 MS right now.
And I want to just, even ask it outright. Felines is doing so well. Where is the weakness in this composition right now that you feel Uprising could really exploit? Is it more so attempting to try and focus maybe a little bit more pressure onto the support line because they, feel really comfortable right now?
So the way that I've seen Tap been playing, Tap has been playing very much a flanker style of Sombra, whereas Felines is just sitting in the front line. Like, look at it. Like, here he's just sitting in the front line. On that attack, you also saw he was playing very much with the team and playing more it's called Sombra 76 style, right? Where you're just waiting for someone to come in and then you just get a raw hack because you're hacking into 6 people and you're going to get someone eventually. That might be something that I think Tap could try to do instead of focusing so much on the supports. Just play at the front with your tank line, and once the dive comes in from 200 MS, you can hack someone.
I mean, green means go. That might be the mentality Tap's got to find. As you can see, that Mikey in the back has to draw attention towards the back line once again, giving assistance to the support line and keeping these DPS alive, which is again leaving 200 MS to their own devices to find an opportunity to clean this up again. Wayfast finally does get an opportunity to take down Muse, but Finale comes in with a bigger boom on that Reaper play, managing to hold on to this. There is one tick, though, that has been obtained, so this wasn't a complete loss in that first fight for Uprising.
But, like, you can see, again, the difference of how Tap and how Felines are playing, where Felines is already at his EMP. That means he's been shooting at tanks, getting a lot of damage done just by the virtue of him shooting into the death ball, so to speak, of the Uprising Academy, where Tap, again, is on those flanks, and he doesn't have EMP right now. So this fight from Uprising Academy, they're most likely going to lose unless they play around it really well, because that EMP, as we know, is basically that ultimate that ends fights before they even start, and there's really nothing you can do about it unless you have something like a sound barrier or a coalescence to negate the damage.
And especially with this transition between this archway on this middle high ground, you are so clustered together. So Feline's EMP is going to yield so much value. At least 3 people will most likely get hit from this at bare minimum. And with you've already lost 2 minutes on the clock right now, it's just Uprising Academy.
They're so scared. They're so scared.
They're petrified to go into this. Tap finally gets their EMP, manages to hold the corner, essentially just trying to equalize the EMP that comes out from Felines. And now that you have at least Mikey and Wayfast coming in after the EMP dissipates from 200 MS, it gives them a chance to start taking down these health values. 2 have already been brought down out of the fight, now to collapse on the back line, take this point and transition into the next. And honestly, there's still going to be some harass to reduce the clock, but ultimately, it's still a decent time bank here for 200 MS to have to defend against.
I mean, even though it looked like they were playing really scared, were Uprising Academy, they were waiting for the perfect moment to go in where they had the EMP from Tap themselves. They just had to wait a little bit longer, and once they had that, they knew the counter EMP was an option, and it works to perfection, and they're actually just going to start to try and snowball here. Mikey used that Primal Rage.
Ooh, Death Blossom goes in, but nice boot once again to give some distance right into the front of the defense matrix from Violetta with the self-destruct in the back. Does tuck low underneath the ramp. It still manages to get Dredro, though. So this opportunity with that lead onto the support, leaving Pizza Demon all alone, and just cannot keep up with the amount of damage being forced out by 200 MS. That will allow a defensive hold by 200 MS and keeping Uprising Academy back for another attempt.
But again, look at the EMP. We're harping on it a lot, but again, when EMP is this important, we have to harp on the fact that Feline is just farming it so much quicker than Tap, and you in a point now where time is so valuable for Uprising Academy, you're going to have to be waiting for Tap to get his EMP. He's going to have to go in, translocate, farm it back up, and then you have to go in. So you take like about 15 seconds off of the clock just waiting for Tap to farm that EMP, but we see Felines on the flank waiting for that dive to come in so that he can EMP. If I'm Tap here, you know that they're going to try and do this, so you stay back and then you use that counter EMP once they go in.
I mean, major credit, though, to Tap to at least be keeping up and having it available to counter, because Felines, once again, always the first to lead into this once the dive comes out by Uprising. Getting a few out of the fight early, no ability to evade or mitigate the necessary. Dredro, again, comes out here on this fight, taking out early. Tap as well. Tap unable to do anything with the EMP. Will be able to carry it over into the next round, but, I mean, you gotta be feeling like, come on, Felines, just give me a break.
Yeah, I mean, he got EMP'd that last fight. That's why he couldn't use his own. So Tap, again, is just on the short end of the stick when it comes to this Sombra play. And it seems like Felines is in his head right now, where he knows exactly where Tap is going to be at all times. And look at him, already 70% back towards another EMP. This man is farming at an insane value currently. 2 minutes and 30 seconds left for Uprising Academy to try and get these points.
We talked about lapping just before the game, and it wasn't that way, but now it's entered into that zone, with Tap on the front getting that sound barrier to continue harassing. Now dropping underneath, forces the EMP. Gets free, but Felines is still out of the fight and nowhere near. If that can be generated quick enough, it may be able to slow this momentum that Uprising has been able to take underneath the archway by the Mecha Pack. And honestly, it doesn't matter. 200 MS, all in the low ground, no one near that point to try and prevent it from being captured, and Uprising Academy manages to keep it going with 2 minutes on the time bank.
Yeah, it's not a C9, but it was close. Could have been mini C9. Maybe we'll do. What would we call a mini C9? A C4.5 or something like that?
Lowercase C9 instead of
No,
a capital
but
C9?
yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's because people are kind of lazy. I mean, let's be real, chat. I mean, come on. Would you prefer to actually push the extra effort of holding shift and pushing C? I know that you all just want to do C9. It's easy.
Yeah.
It's
Also, it also takes longer to type C 4.5. It doesn't roll off the tongue as well.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it makes you sound a little bit more mathematically inclined, which we said earlier we're not the best at. So that's a little bit of
that is true. Yes.
But ultimately, yeah, we would just we'll say C semi 9. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm currently failing my astronomy class because math is involved. So like, it's not going good.
We would like you to be a very knowledgeable individual about that, so one day you can enlighten us about the facts of the skies. But speaking of skies,
you want to read your horoscope, dude? Is that what we're trying to do?
Goodness, I would love that right now. Only you can see my palm. It has an M in it, I think, like everybody else. But speaking of horoscopes and things to look towards the skies, Uprising specifically needs to look towards the stars right now to not actually be dropped out of this once again, as we saw in the previous September match, with 200 MS being the one to remove them from this position versus prior.
And it looks like we are going to be having a pause for both of these teams. And again, it was Uprising Academy, even though Felines is having a field day right now with this Sombra, they still have some good moments. Do Uprising Academy, I like the aggressive play when they're sending in Mikey on these very aggressive dives with the Primal Rage, knowing that he has the ability to live as long as he doesn't get hacked. And then they're covering the fact that Felines can hack him as well. So I think Uprising is starting to figure out a little bit of how Felines is playing, and then now it's going to be up to Felines to change his play style a little bit, because we've seen a lot of variation between how his Sombra's been, right? We've seen the flank style. We've seen just the Sombra 76 style that seems to be working a lot better. So that's the game of chicken and the game of chess that they're playing right now against Felines, is who is going to have the better advantage in terms of that adaptation.
And, to further develop that regarding Felines is, especially when it came to that later fight where Uprising was finally able to take the point, we saw a lot more aggression and not allowing Felines to get into a position to set up at the best angle to actually lead into the fight. That's going to give not only Felines a more favorable opportunity of a decent hack, but also leaving the grand scale of 200 MS being able to take down Uprising once that hack comes in.
And that's actually an interesting point, because the way that they have been playing so far, at least from Tap's perspective, is Tap has been playing much more of that flanker style, like I talked about. And I think that's really what's hindering his ultimate charge. And I think if they move him more towards that Sombra 76, I think it actually matches pretty well with how 200 MS wants to play. Like, fight them fire versus fire instead of just going on the flank and trying to get some supports.
Yeah, why not be a bigger blaze than your opponent? I mean, let's just throw more kindling and gasoline on one fire versus the other. I mean, who doesn't do that? I do that because I can barely start a fire as it is. No, I'm just kidding.
I have a gas grill, so it does it for me, dude. Sorry.
No, it's not. I'm sorry. Charcoal all the way. For those out there, you all know that charcoal's better than gas. I'm sorry. I love you.
Yeah, but charcoal, you have to clean it, and it's just come on.
You're getting authentic flavor. Let's be honest. I mean,
do you put mesquite chips in your charcoal, and are you that kind of person?
Okay, I don't do it often, but I've got one of the little things where you put it in the bottom, you let it burn, you let it simmer, you let it sit for a little bit, and then you got that little great booklet from your cookbook that tells you how to divide the coals and everything.
Okay,
but
okay.
Yeah, now we're gonna start talking about
grill
food.
master.
Yes, rad grill man. I don't know where I'm going with that, but we know where we're going right now. It's Uprising Academy on the attack with 2 minutes in the time bank to see if Tap can do the same thing here that Felines has been doing.
And you can see Uprising Academy know the tricks from Felines now. Immediately as they exit the spawn room, they look to the left and start shooting because that's where Felines was at that first time. So they're starting to get the reads. Now they're going into this mini room. Felines 25% towards his ultimate. Just raining. You see him, he's just standing there, just shooting randomly at people. And I like this aggressive play from Boston. They're taking him away.
Oh, now going to make it really difficult for Felines. Still playing further back, and again, not in the front line, as you said, which is very, very costly to 200 MS. But Felines is still keeping up and ahead of the curve right now when it comes to that ultimate economy, just slightly above Tap. But with this rotation underneath, attempting to take this lower segment where that health pack is to get the benefit of this, 200 MS is still housing very, very well in this small nook, and a kill has to come through. Pizza Demon forces out the Coalescence, so does Vigilante, attempting to keep these teams alive, and that Primal Rage is actually forced, and there is Felines with the EMP, and there is GG is right. Wayfast does get taken out of the fight as Violetta takes down Tap. There is no way for Uprising Academy to come back into it at this fight. So now you have an EMP from Taps in the next fight with 45 seconds to go.
Huge EMP as well from Felines, catching 3 important members in Wayfast, Mike being false, so that means they aren't able to get their ultimates, but it might be a blessing in disguise for Uprising Academy because of the fact that they now have a treasure trove of ultimates coming in to this next fight. It is going to be the last fight. We have to keep our eyes on the sound barrier, but there's it used before the EMP.
Oh, and the aggression from 200 MS to try and take advantage.
Where's Tap?
The lore with, Tap coming in now late in this fight, getting 4. Is there enough to turn this around? Wayfast, the fact that Wayfast didn't go out early in that engagement allowed Uprising to turn this around, especially with the utility from Dredro. At least this 1 point's going to be taken. They can transition into B, so they at least have a goalpost to look at because they're going now with only 30 seconds to the second point because of the overtime.
Yeah, they needed to really kill Wayfast there. If they got that kill, there's a possibility that they would have been able to maybe win that fight, but that was a really big EMP from Tap. I thought he came a little bit too late, but a wizard doesn't arrive late, nor is he early. He's always right on time, and so is Tap.
And hopefully 200 MS can say, you shall not pass, to build on top of that with Mikey in the back in the primal range. Does get the relocation and pushing back Baby Diva as the self-destruct comes out now on the front. Violetta has to be careful because the self-destruct by False is there on the point. Manages to get Vigilante, so solely relying on Davi, while the front line from Uprising Academy is now being brought down. 200 MS shall be able to lift the staff, slash and slam that onto the ground and break the bridge with a Balrog. Will not be able to get that individual holding the one, the only, the ring of power.
I'm so glad you picked up on that, Rick.
I loved
that
it.
Made me happy.
I am so glad we both had that moment.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. Shout out to all the Lord of the Rings fans out there. But for Uprising Academy, you definitely take this. You got the first point. Your win condition is set, like you mentioned. The gold posts are there, and 200 MS, they have another minute over the allotted time bank for Uprising Academy, so if everything goes the same, they'll still have a minute to try and get that second point. This is very drawable. I mean, it is Anubis. It is always drawable. This is a possibility that we get our 6-map series right here. It's much closer here, I think, than it was on Control because of the fact that I think they've adapted pretty well throughout dealing with Felines. They know where he's going to be at a lot of these times. They've gotten his tricks down. And this would be interesting. I don't think 200 MS is going to run this because this is just bait. But Double Sniper would be very interesting in this scenario, but it's not going to happen. I think they're just going to try and halt hook out the doorway, see if they can catch that Sombra, and if not, they'll go back.
Yeah, bait is the right term because the only reason they're going to have this hog here is for the statement hook, line, and sinker to make our comment actually stick. But yeah, Tap's right now playing this forward position like Felines has been doing. So this will give a little bit of an extra opportunity to get that lead when it comes to the ultimate for the EMP.
Yeah, he has 5% only now, so not too much in. Now here comes the full swaps from 200 MS, going back to their standard composition. We're waiting here. That is a nice hack, though, from Tap, really to get that Mega Room health pack secured, because that way they aren't going to be able to give it over to 200 MS, and they can't just continuously keep healing themselves off of that Mega health.
Ooh, Feline gets a nice hack in the corner. False just sticking a little bit too much around the corner, preventing the defense matrix, so it won't be able to mitigate too much damage, but the supports are doing a stellar job. You've got Pizza Demon and Dredro sticking close to secure that Uprising is healthy on the front line. Finale dives into the corner, does get hacked.
Big hack, huge.
Coming out by Tap, managing to sustain sustain on this as way fast collapse in because that hand came through on the finale. Couldn't stick up front any longer and does get exploited. False, once again going to be focused down, but it's really not going to find any value because now Tap is turning the tides on this and managing to bring this to an opportunity of a halt so Uprising can take this first point.
And they've actually committed both Coalescences to this fight. Muse also committing the Primal Rage. They want this here and now. And both teams somehow there was like one kill throughout all of that. No one else died, but both EMPs are available here.
Yep, gonna come through. You have Tap leading in first, Feline second shortly after, but Dredro in the back was not caught out and managed to get the sound barrier to secure that there is enough. But the really challenging part now is because Dobby held onto theirs. They've got more than enough applied pressure for 200 MS to reach onto this point, take advantage, dwindle the remaining members even further, and now this is going to be still a decent time bank, just over a minute and a half. 200 MS is going to have to push the second point.
That was tragic there from Dredro, so close to saving his buddy Mikey, who has the Primal Rage, and is going to use it, or try to use it. He dives in, but he's hacked immediately. The man of the hour, Feline, just making life a living hell for Uprising Academy.
Obliterated on the front side, and honestly, this is those coordinated plays, but the fact that at least you've worn off a few more seconds is helpful, but at the same time, you're giving 200 MS a stack of ultimates to use to secure this final moment on B.
And the thing is, they don't have EMPs for either of these teams to continue that snowball, but Coalescences are available, and here's a Death Blossom coming in. It gets a kill on the W.
Oh, the fact that the support is gone leaves a lot riding on Vigilante. The Coalescence does come out, though, to keep most of the team alive. The Violetta does get taken out. The Self-Destruct comes out up front, just gets tossed forward, and is actually brought down by False in return. Uprising Academy, with the spawn advantage, have the opportunity of getting back into this. What EMP, though, might just say otherwise. Pizza Demon forces the Coalescence instantly shut down.
They don't have their tanks. They don't have their tanks.
Oh my goodness.
They don't have their tanks, Felines. You did not have your support there for that EMP. Even though it was huge, you did not have the support. And now they're running in with 30 seconds left against another EMP from Tap. There is almost no way that they win this unless Dobby gets his EMP or gets his sound barrier and is able to negate the damage from the EMP, or Felines hacks Tap out of it.
Be a wizard, Uprising. Come on, my friends. You want to move and use all the magic you've got. Wingardium Leviosa to push onto this point as there is now 10 seconds to go. 200 MS looking for the attacking position to try and claim this first tick. Falls throws out the Self-Destruct against it in the back as Tap leads in with it. Self-Destruct gains 2 on this defensive side. The overtime commences. The numbers advantage for Uprising Academy. This is going to be that Dronubis coming out as the overtime dwindles. 200 MS. The stragglers are not going to be nearly enough to keep this going. Even a Reinhardt comes down from Muse to potentially charge onto it, but it's not going to matter. The draw is here, an extra map coming around the corner, and we are going to now see Uprising Academy finally get some grounding here to shut down 200 MS.
Well, Dritch, it looks like we leaked the script a bit. We leaked the script a bit here. We said it was going to be a possibility of a draw. It ends up being a draw, and it really comes down to Felines, who's been having a phenomenal game so far. That EMP, I think, really did them in, and it was the nail in the coffin. Because if he keeps that, there's a chance that they have a counter EMP for the EMP that Tap had. But EMP versus no EMP, it's almost impossible to win 9 times out of 10 there, Rich. And for 200 MS, taking themselves a little bit, but still 1-0 lead, so not terrible.
Not terrible, but again, it's starting to put, 200 MS in the hot seat right now. If Uprising Academy starts to understand the method and the madness that we have coming out from 200 MS, we'll be able to see if Uprising can continue to diagnose their opponent to know exactly how to defeat this team. So don't go anywhere, friends. We've got this action coming back in just a few minutes.
Academy, they lay down the shatter, let the bodies hit the floor. Uprising Academy at 95%.
Right now with Hydra building up to this Bear Barrage so quickly. And asking.
Double kill in the back with the pulse bomb from the high ground. Aerial assault with that mine.
Impact se escucha de abajo gritar campeón. campeón a Sky Foxes.
Holy cow.
And after 42 consecutive losses, the Shanghai Dragons get their first win.
8 teams enter this weekend.
Oh no, Reinhardt, what are you doing?
We got a clip with minimal information. It's time to break it down. Speed, 25%. Go. Figure out what this man's SR is.
Keep fighting until it's for sure lost.
Winnable!
So you queue up for Overwatch Ranked, only to be greeted by this, which then leads to this, and oh no, Reinhardt, what are you doing? The solution? Elo Hell pickup games.
Hey, you know what? Just
Oh my god, it's huge! Oh! Kill! Let's go!
Open to players of all ranks and most platforms, Pugs give you the chance to experience competitive Overwatch as it was meant to be played. Competitively.
I need help.
I'm with you.
Shoot.
no way, dude.
Go. Let's go. Nice. Good call.
Players set their icons to indicate the role they want to play, then 2 captains pick their teammates and draft the most competitive teams they can. You can also take part in our pioneering learning event, Coached Pugs. To take part, join the Elo Hell Pickup Games Discord, and be sure to read the Pug Guide and FAQ. Good luck, have fun, and we'll see you in-game.
Welcome back, my friends. We are here to continue this action between 200 MS and Uprising Academy. And while we were on the break, we got that update here for already seeing Odyssey finishing it up for the day. So between the 2 matches that we could have casted Kenobi, we got the long one, and I think, honestly, the more exciting one.
Yeah, I mean, Odyssey has 3 dark mode in record time, and we started casting like 50 minutes ago, and I don't even think they started the matchup. So
Like,
congratulations to Odyssey, who have secured themselves a spot in the next Contenders tournament, and now it is truly for that last spot, right? Where this is going to be there is 1 spot left, guaranteed. Whoever wins this is taking it home. and a lot to play for now. Uprising Academy and 200 MS, if you're just joining us, they are now at 1-0 at map 3 because we had a draw on Anubis because me and Rich leaked the script.
Yeah, we really did. I mean, we kind of had an idea, but like we were only just teasing you. No, we're just kidding. It's really live. We had absolutely no idea. As we are going to be going into the map of Eichenwald. Again, this map being very unique between all 3 points to really try and press through the capture into the payload phase. So with the way that we've been seeing both of these teams play, wouldn't be surprised to see the change up from the Sombra. But again, if we do at least see the Sombra v Sombra, we know that Tap is up to really challenging felines. And now I really want to make a tip to Tap joke, but I'm not going to do that.
I mean, it could have worked there. It would have worked. You should have gone for it. But with Eichenwald, I expect to probably see Pharah because when I casted EU earlier today, there was a lot of Pharah being played, and Eichenwald has always been a map where Pharah really shines, especially on that first point where you can hide around the clock tower and really just play a lot more safer than usual. So that is definitely a wrinkle of a possibility. It could also just be we stick with the standard composition, Sombra Reaper versus Sombra Reaper, and that's what we're going to be seeing for the rest of the night. But if there was ever a time where a team wanted to bring out some fluctuations in terms of what they want to run in their composition, this is it, or Junkertown, which we're going to see.
Yeah, Junkertown, again, also being a very unique map, which, again, we are going to see that because of the draw. So we found ourselves being able to at least see this variation going forward.
I mean, we have the whole script. We have the whole script. Like, we know. We're just not going to spoil it for you, chat, because we love you.
Yes, we really do. Honestly, seriously, you're here supporting, which is great. Tier 2, post about it. As now we're going to hop in onto this map. You will see a side swap coming through. It's going to be 200 MS now on the left side with Uprising Academy on the right. As we look like, actually, we're going to have a little bit, I think, of a connection concern. Let's see.
We're
I think
good.
they're actually pretty good. It's okay. We're just bait and switching you back and forth. We want you to be excited, then we're going to take it away. And then
we're keeping you on your toes. We're keeping you on your toes.
I mean, we got to keep somebody on our toes because we're sitting at home. So as these 30 seconds go, we can take at least a look at the defensive side, which is going to be 200 MS. And you've got this same composition. Nothing really going to be changing up here, but I'm really just waiting to see what that composition is going to look like from Uprising and see if they actually stick with any of these.
Yeah, I mean, there is obviously the possibility that Echo comes out. Echo shares a lot of similarities with Pharah and just that projectile that stays in the sky. But based on what we're seeing right here, the only difference is that we're going to be seeing Pizza Demon on the Ana instead. And I might eat my words, and this is why casters at home, if you're learning, do not talk about the offensive spawns before they come out, because everything has changed now. Tap is going to be on that Echo. We know Tap to be a very formidable Echo player in their own right. And realistically, if you're 200 MS, you don't have a lot to deal with an Echo in the air like this. There's no hit scan threat. You don't have like an Ana. It has to realistically be the Sombra getting a hack or the Diva getting onto that Echo and taking him out.
Absolutely, and there's going to be a lot of pressure relying on the shoulders of felines to get these hacks once you've got Tap dropping low enough to the ground. But this focus beam constantly being kept very elevated, especially with the Mercy from Dreedro getting the boosted damage. And, you know, Mikey's honestly doing a stellar job continuing to get this harassment with the Wrecking Ball. D-Ball also coordinating very well. There's already a couple of picks coming through. You've got a support tank out of the fight. Even though Tap is out of this, there's still a good opportunity here for Uprising Academy to stick this out. But they're actually going to play a little more defensive. They're not going to risk this.
Yeah, I actually like that. They know they have the respawn advantage against the other team, so they can wait for 6 members to take a full 6-on-6 fight here. And they've actually forced Muse to switch over to the Hammond to get back to point quicker, so he forgoes a lot of the ultimate charge he had on Winston.
Yeah, losing that percentage can be detrimental, but there's still a decent amount of time to get back and try and generate it to bring this Wrecking Ball v Wrecking Ball to the table. Tap in the back, though, does have the duplicate, looking to see who it's going to be on. And again, these critical moments come through when you are playing an Echo to see what is going to be most vital to DPS, duplicate onto the tank. It's going to be actually tapped. Oh, gonna just come in. Duplicate, if there is nothing else that you gain out of that, it is that initial kill that makes you feel it is worthy. Follow through in the back. Nice defense matrix, though, to come out from Violetta to try and prevent any further damage. But now with the duplication falling short, Focus Beam already getting a lot of extra damage because Fuse is going to be at half health, and the hack comes through as well, securing that Uprising is in a great position to take this point. The last few stragglers remain from 200 MS, and as long as Uprising doesn't waver away from their focus calls, they should be able to take this and transition into this payload.
It's just the DPS now left on the point for 200 MS, and they should be going down very, very soon here, especially with the respawns being so far away. But they're making them work for it, and there's the Soundbreaker committed, actually.
And again, here's that resilience we talked about earlier from Uprising
no way.
Academy on this attack, not wanting to give up. And same thing now with 200 MS. And the fact that Finale got the death plus out with 2, that is a hold and a beautiful recovery, to say the least.
That looked completely doomed, all things considered, for 200 MS there. They had no business winning that fight, but they managed to pull it out, and now Uprising Academy have to make some swaps. They're putting way fast on the Sombra to try and match the one from Felines. But in this next fight, Felines has EMP. This dive, as soon as you get to point, is going to be melted down into gold.
Now with the EMP coming through, does land onto 4. Mickey not going to have any ability to evade with its kit, so there is a chance to just completely reset this side of Uprising Academy once again, just wearing down the clock. But this 60 seconds is going to be a very critical one here for Uprising to try and take this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird to say that you want to fight too fast, but there it might have been a bit too fast in that scenario where the EMP comes out. Because Uprising Academy have that 40 seconds left, if they make the fight happen really quickly, they can maybe get a second try and second bite of the cherry to try and get this last tick that they need.
Now with a dive in the backside, Mickey gonna go, Mikey gonna go very quickly to the back line to aggress on the support. Fuse actually gets slapped in the midst of it all, so it shuts down that ability to have just consistent harass and to focus from Uprising Academy. But what a cleanup coming through by 200 MS to shut this down. There's gonna allow one last opportunity, but it's gonna be an extremely challenging one.
Only 50 seconds left. Mikey here has to switch to the Hammond to get to point faster. He's not going to be able to do so on the Winston. Actually decides to stick on the Winston. That is a decision that I'm not sure I would agree with, and they've traded here. Pizza Demon is down. There's a lot of healing that Strong are going to have.
And there's already 2 picks coming through. Pizza Demon down. You've got the Tracer play as well. Way Fast cannot stick in this. Tap with the duplicate, going to get a second Sombra to hopefully swing this back with the EMP. That critical ultimate needs to come through, doesn't manage to do so, it gets deflected out with the Wrecking Ball, and now the counter EMP, the patient play from Felines. They have 9 lives and are going to keep all of them with overtime running dry. You've got round 1 completed with 200 MS with a full hold.
And somehow, some way, 2 EMPs is not greater than 1.
No.
And just math has failed me there. Like I was saying, I'm failing astronomy. It's not looking good here as well, because that 1 EMP from Felines was better than both the EMPs from Tap and Wayfast. So 200 MS in a situation, again, you talked about it and mentioned it, the composure and the patience from 200 MS is pretty staggering. In situations where I feel like they have no business winning fights, they just keep it calm, keep it cool, and they just remember just the basic things that they need to do to get back onto point. They realize their ultimate economy, what position they're in, and they're able to win fights off of that. And now they full hold Uprising Academy, and this is a very winnable scenario for 200 MS to go up 2-0.
And, I mean, there is still a little bit of wiggle room. I mean, the fact that you can allow 2 ticks and feel comfortable not allowing that victory to come through. So, again, you did hold to prevent that payload from moving. But as we now swap the sides here for the defense, you will see Uprising Academy keep this Tracer and Echo play with the Wrecking Ball as well. So they are going to stick with it. They're not going to attempt this double Sombra as we have seen repeatedly. And 200 MS, I know, hook, line, and sinker. So I'm really hoping that there is some coordination with Tap maintaining this Echo play to, get the better end of this.
I mean, it's going to be difficult for Tap, because if Tap dies once to this shot from Finale, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get a nice pick, so he's going to go back. He's going to switch to the Tracer. So if Tap had died to that, that would have been the Resurrection gone, and that means that 200 MS could play extremely aggressively if they would have wanted to, and that's what you're going to be looking out for. A single pick here doesn't necessarily mean too much, but if it's comboed along with another one, then it's disaster.
And this heavy mobility with Finale in the back. Meanwhile, those going to take a nap. You're not moving anywhere, friend, as you are going to see a follow-through onto Fuse. Tap taking very, very quick focus on the targets at hand. Getting rid of both at the start of this fight. That's most likely going to just secure the fact that you need 200 MS to retreat and regroup. And a good minute worn off the clock and getting into a good start.
And not a lot of ultimates to talk about just yet for both teams. Wayfast is the one who is closest to his. Pulse Bomb, obviously one of those very important ultimates and very impactful that if hit onto one of the backliners, can end the fight before it even starts. So look out for that Pulse Bomb coming out from Wayfast.
Yeah, Wayfast can manage to get this just before Finale, which Finale's getting pretty close to catching up here, but I mean, the fact that you've got Pizza Demon down, that's a lot relying on a Dreedro, and that is a tall order. Wayfast comes out with the Pulse Bomb, doesn't get the pick, but manages to get a decent amount of damage in that close proximity as 200 MS still continues to withstand it. Vigilante has to force out the Coalescence. Davi getting near that sound barrier. If that can be obtained fast enough, that will secure 200 MS to maintain this position. Tap at least going with the Primal Rage now to force that support out of the way, so there's no ability to get that sound barrier in time. Pushing again to return the favor. Tap gonna get hit in the midst of this though. Here comes Felines once again with a critical ultimate usage, passing now even further on to Mikey. Is there an execution to follow shortly after? Dreedro at least forces out the Resurrection. Pizza Demon is in this with a nano boost and self-destruct still being held onto. Does go overhead. Falls doesn't get the picks necessary for Uprising Academy on the defense, and here comes another long drawn-out fight, Kenobi.
Sound barrier.
That follow through, you've got the self-destruct. Ooh, no, you actually get the T-Mech here. The Pulse Bomb comes through, managing to get Violetta out of it. Will be able to get back in quickly enough. Uprising Academy has already lost 2 ticks. The third is close and just around the corner. Wayfast will be brought down with a lovely boop from Dubby as this goes in favor of 200 MS. And now they find themselves entering into this next round as a match point.
Dobby is one step closer to getting the sock and being free of trials with the rest of 200 MS. And Uprising Academy, a valiant effort, but the composure again from 200 MS, I mean, it is just stellar. 95%, like usually in those fights, you'd expect them to be over. It's going to be a take. And no, they just say, we have the ultimates to work with. We have a Death Blossom. We can bring this one back. And they end up doing so. And now they have a 2-0 lead as we go into our 4th map of Junkertown. All the momentum is on their side. Uprising Academy to get to trials and get the monkey off their back, or get past trials and get the monkey off their back. That is that continuous 3rd and 4th place finish. They have to start it here on Junkertown, or else it's looking like a.
I mean, it's a really, really large surprise, again, for both of us, as we have taken a look at the history, of course, over this week. And, you know, to build even further on that, I honestly feel that Felines right now has been the ace in the hole every time, round after round, no matter the mountain to climb or the railroad to ride. I don't know where I was going with that when I was attempting. But, you're just gonna jump
from
on
mountains to railroads.
I know, I feel like I'm just taking the highway through what is it? The good old Route 66. For those of you that are younger, you probably don't even know that that's a thing, but that was a legitimate thing.
Well, Route 66 is a map in Overwatch.
I know. So I mean, you got to at least have an understanding of knowing what it is. But my goodness, I drove on that when I was a child, like many eons ago. And it was quite a thrilling adventure, but now at least we get a little piece of it here inside of this map. But that's not the map we're going to. We're going to Junkertown, so all the way down under, where we get to see some interesting plays. There are some opportunities for some potential change up with these long sightlines, though, Kenobi.
Widowmaker, obviously one of those heroes that has loved this map. I think since its inception, you have those incredibly long sightlines. So, and from what we've seen from Felines, I'm interested to see if they continue to just play that Sombra, because it's been so valuable to the entirety of what 200 MS wants to do. But when I look at Uprising Academy and I look at their team, you have Wayfast. Wayfast, extremely talented Widowmaker. And this is the map where you show off your Widowmaker chops. Like, we remember when we were casting, I believe it was Drifters, and we saw like Fi like took over this map completely by himself. This is where Widowmakers shined the most, and this is where I think Uprising Academy can have an edge over Felines in that Widow 1v1 Wayfast.
Yep. Shine bright like a diamond. Every time anybody says shine, it's what I always think of. It's so bad and so terrible.
I think of the song Shiny from Moana.
Oh, you know what? Okay, I would agree with that one. I've seen that a long time ago. It's been a while. It's a nice refresher for me seeing that. I gotta watch that again. But
you know, what can I say except you're welcome, you know?
Yeah, I am okay with that. Let's not get into our musical numbers, as maybe you've got Wayfast got the number of Feline, but that won't come out early as a pick. And you know, with this amount of time that's on the clock pushing out onto the point, no early takedowns. So 200 MS here, you know, on the attack, looking for an early takedown themselves, but both of these Widowmakers looking for that angle.
The other thing that I really want to harp on a little bit, Rich, is the support differences, because Pizza Demon is going to be on that Zenyatta, and Muse and Violetta have to play incredibly safely when they dive in, because if you get discorded, you're going to get blown up most likely by just the Diva damage, the Hammond damage, and the Zen damage right in your face.
See that trigger coming out from the Venom Mine to the side, at least giving some intel on where the positioning is from 200 MS. The collapse comes through. Pizza Demon being a sitting duck in the back. You did mention how that is going to be very challenging for the tank line, but if you could just eliminate the Zenyatta outright, I'm pretty sure that you're feeling confident.
Yeah, I mean, they just didn't have the peel, unfortunately, for Pizza Demon there, and a very quick take from 200 MS. I mean, we saw that entire round, Felines was in spawn. Like, he wasn't even there. That was just a very clean executed dive from Finale, Muse, and Violetta, and they're able to take the first point just off of the back of one fight. I don't think that Hammond is going to be able to contest, and an extremely large time bank is going to be going into the second phase of Junkertown. Wayfast actually not even going to be opting for the 1v1 with the Widow anymore. He's opting for the Ashe, so has a little bit more utility to work with that Dynamite and with the Coach Gun in case the dive comes in.
And the other part, too, is with that dive coming in, Pizza Demon is just so vulnerable. Again, we don't get to typically see the Zenyatta, and a lot of the time you have it paired with a support that has a lot more crowd control, the ability to keep the Zenyatta alive, but Dredro is really just boosting the damage and focusing way fast right now to secure that there is more damage output, so Pizza Demon has to play this even more careful with this, again, aggression coming through. Wayfast on the high ground, continuing to get some pepper damage out as Tap continues to synergize underneath with the rest of the dive from Mikey and Falls, but this rotation from Zooms, Felines in the back has been occupied because of how low the health value is, but again, Felines is nowhere in this fight, and Muse with the rest just press on.
Muse stop, and then Muse is completely taking over the game right now with these dives. We saw it to break open that first point. We see it here again. He's the one who's leading everyone. Feline's going to be switching back over to their trusty Sombra here to deal with the Hammond dives and with the Tracer. And here you have one last contest for Uprising Academy. You've got this, you've got the Transcendence, so you have a sustained advantage for the moment at the start of this fight, and that's a big Dynamite to start everything off.
Yes, that Dynamite to start is going to be very, very assistive, but Pizza Demon in the back is getting overrun. Great job from the response of the Uprising Academy to keep Pizza Demon alive. Sound Barrier, though, comes down along with Pulse Bomb from Finale, getting a tank down onto Wayfast. A Transcendence is even forced out here. So that was a great use. And Wayfast having Bob in addition to all of these ultimates that are thrown out here, it could be enough to survive and persevere through so much of 200 MS, and it's going to be more than enough. And you at least kept the self-destruct something going into the next fight.
It was still a very expensive fight, all things considered, from Uprising Academy. Both the support ultimates are gone, and you used Bob. Luckily, Tap is able to keep the Pulse Bomb, which is probably the most important ability or ultimate ability on the field right now, especially because 200 MS isn't necessarily in a position where they can abuse any type of ultimate economy, right? They don't really have any of them necessarily close, so it's looking pretty decent for Uprising Academy's hold here. They just have to be worried about Felines in the backline getting a key hack onto one of their members and a dive coming in from Muse that blows up Pizza Demon or someone else.
Yeah, making sure that you get rid of Pizza Demon is priority one. That Discord orb can be so punishing if it just sits as long as it does, and especially with how Wayfest and Tap have been coordinating between one another to get the damage. You've got the Pulse Bomb that comes out, doesn't really gain any value. Tap being vulnerable in the backside does manage to escape, but still with low health. And honestly, this reposition right now from the defense, Wayfast taking a huge rotation near where the payload is, and you've got Mikey going in for a decent stun of the low ground. Muse with the Discord, needs to get a follow-up. Tap comes in with a big kill with that assistance from Pizza Team, and that's going to shut down anything that 200 MS has. You've got Vigilante at least eliminating the Zen, but there is far too much done, and that's a cleanup here with 1 minute and 55 seconds still to go for 200 MS to push the point.
President Academy looking so good here. They read the rotation from 200 MS, and this swap from Wayfast onto the Ashe has just paid so much dividends so far. It's really gotten a lot of value just in terms of the raw damage output because of the pocket from Dredro. And diving onto an Ashe like this is so incredibly difficult because you have so many options to peel for it. You have a Zenyatta who's pocketing it, a Mercy, there's a Diva there too. It is just a nightmare to try and kill this Ashe.
Speaking of nightmares, when you've got both the Winston and Diva diving in that quickly, but great recovery coming out by Mikey with the Wrecking Ball to dislodge those two up top. giving assistance to both Pizza Demon and to Wayfast and preventing that Transcendence from having to be forced. Oh, but a miraculous self-destruct comes over the sign. Scrapyard is definitely not going to block that explosion. And you've got Pizza Demon now having to force out the Transcendence on the low ground, securing that you can withstand the amount of damage, but the late sound barrier here from Dobby might be enough to retaliate back. Wayfast has to force now onto the Echo to get back quickly with the momentum, and numbers advantage starting to go in favor of 200 MS. There's still enough here to stagger this out. The position of the payload is about equal to where the spawns are located, so there is a chance to draw this out even further, and that's the goal of Uprising Academy, but 200 MS is going to eventually be able to get this because that number is dominant, with the Wrecking Ball getting back quickly.
Yeah, I mean, Mikey is trying his hard out right now for Uprising Academy. He's doing so much. He's actually going to come back and try and stall. He does a ton of damage to Finale and forces out that recall.
Yeah, but Felines, though, gets the pickup. A lot forced into that side position where that archway is. And meanwhile, you've got just a Tesla Cannon damage, just laying it all out on the table, constantly getting charged. Gonna get the Primal Rage carrying into this as they're just under 2 meters to reach the checkpoint. Now moving into it, minute and 30 seconds. 200 MS still has a good chance to complete this.
But if you think about it, Rich, that's actually really good for Uprising Academy here that Mikey got all the way into that backline. Okay, Finale tried to finesse a little bit, didn't end up working. Oh, he's going to go back and switch, so he's just going to be going to Reaper here. Just tried to get a little bit of a, try to get one for the highlight reel before he goes back and switches. He had the pulse bomb, why not? And we see Mikey, who's been the star of the show, I think, for me on Uprising Academy. He has another minefield.
Nice boop, though, coming out as it was being used, so it didn't get placed as far back into the corner as they would have liked for that potential follow-through of the knock-up. As Wayfast, though, comes out big, manages to take down the counterpart. Finale with that swap from the Tracer onto the Reaper isn't going to get much value early into this. And Fuse is actually going to go in with the Primal Rage. Hacked immediately after, so there's no ability to jump out, but I'm not sure there's enough damage to follow up in the corner because these healers from Dobby and Vigilante are just fueling Muse on the front side and keeping him alive, in addition to Violetta with that defense matrix to mitigate any extra damage necessary.
Oh, Mikey's hacked. He's so close towards another pulse bomb or another minefield, though. Huge EMP coming out from Felines.
Might be able to change this up, but you do still have Pizza Demon sticking just on that exterior of where the EMP radius was, keeping the team alive, and didn't have to force out Dredro's sound barrier, so that's a lot carrying into this final fight.
Dude, it's wild. Mikey's Hammond is almost invulnerable. There is they cannot get the kill. Even through the hacks, even through everything, they can't take him down, and they only have 5 seconds left, and there is Mikey just sitting there with the minefield ready to use it whenever the dive comes in.
I mean, you also have Tabs here with an EMP. That's going to secure it if you can get it quick enough. Mikey comes in big, though, already taking down Muse. No ability to escape those mines on the low ground. Wayfast and Dredro coming with some stacked kills and the sound barrier as an insurance policy. EMP wasn't even needed, but that's going to be a showstopper in the end with the round completed, as 200 MS is not able to complete this, and Uprising Academy has the goal post that they need to reach.
We've been talking a lot about, Muse. We've been talking a lot about Felines, specifically as carry potential players for their team. Mikey is having a phenomenal Hammond. It is unreal how much damage and disruption he's calling. It feels like every single fight he has minefield, which is just insanity when you really think about how much damage he's getting from pile drivers, from just the raw damage he's outputting with the bulls. He has to be farming it at an extremely high rate. And when you have minefield all the time, especially in a closed area like second, you're going to get kills because it's just sectioning off a part of the road where you can't walk. And then what do? You just dive into it? No, you're going to get blown up immediately. So Mikey, hats off to him, playing an incredible Hammond so far. And it's really, I think, what is making this work so much for Uprising.
And to be fair, a lot of it also has to deal with how the supports are changing their focus. When it came to that middle segment in the open area and Wayfast getting boosted by Dredro, forcing that extra damage versus the healing necessary, in the end of it, Mikey getting the extra healing to stay alive and constantly harass 200 MS has been key to that continuous defense.
And we're seeing here no changes realistically from 200 MS's composition, and neither from Uprising Academy. They're going to be sticking to the old "if it ain't broke, don't fix it" adage. And I mean, for 200 MS, they're taking a close hold, but I don't know if they necessarily have the sustain that you would like to have with something like a Reinhardt if you're taking it this close.
Yeah, and you can see this Veil immediately after. It's really not going to bode well, and that's going to give a lot of free distance here for Uprising. A lot of pick damage coming through. False in a great position to just constantly keep pressure, and already Mikey's at 60%
Yeah,
of an ultimate charge.
Yeah, he's popping off right now. He's feeling himself. He's making this Hammond work extremely well so far. Even against the Sombra, that's the wild thing, is that Sombra is on the field, and you can hack that Hammond as it goes in.
And then you see a lot of focus now, as we can see with Felines really having to get to the Diva, because Mikey is just all over the place, constantly in motion. And with Felines at this point not being able to get close enough to stop it, you have to just go for the nearest target. Mikey again going to look for that opportunity to get the stun into the corner near where that pack is, just bobbing and weaving. If this minefield comes up into that small room, that's going to be unbelievable, but actually transitions back onto the payload, preventing anyone from sticking close to it. Violetta has to just wait until that booster pack is available to get out of those minefields with that Transcendence to come assist now from Pizza Demon, and even committing the Bob. This is, I think, a little bit of an overcommitment, but Uprising Academy wants to secure that they can keep a large time bank going into this next section.
Yeah, I don't know if it was necessarily the most egregious use of an ultimate I've ever seen, because of the fact that Wayfast is being pocketed by Mercy, so this ultimate will come back pretty quickly, all things considered. But again, this is all off the back of Mikey, who is just playing so good, zoning so many members, doing so much damage. And Finale, I mean, I would have liked to have seen the Tracer continue to be played, because you can put so much more front-loaded damage into Mikey on that Hammond, and I think Pulse Bomb gets a lot more value here than something like a Death Blossom.
Ooh, great EMP comes out, but it's going to miss
Mikey.
That's
not a great EMP. That's not a great EMP.
Yeah, no, that came out really bad, unfortunately, towards the end of it. Looks like it could have been all 6 for something for 200 MS to collapse on, but because of those few just outside of its radius, Redro managing to get the Valkyrie to sustain through it. False is now going to drop the self-destruct in the back just because the health was reduced. Mikey overhead, now with the minefield, continuing to keep that payload preoccupied with only members of Uprising Academy. 200 MS, despite that early use of ultimates not getting much value, the follow-through will come out.
Yeah, I mean, the EMP was not the greatest, just by the sense that there was no follow-up to it, but it did force Uprising Academy to go back, and they gave a lot of space back over to 200 Mist, which they were able to take with a lot of their ultimates. And now Uprising Academy is coming back in. There is Bob available from Wayfast, and there's no shielding to deal with it. Oh my god, that is an aggressive Bob.
Tucked into the back does get Pizza Demon, so it actually gains some kind of value here to at least slow that opportunity of recovery by Uprising Academy. Rez is actually going to be forced out by Dredro. That should keep both supports. Nice pick coming though in the finale, as you said, by the health pack. Doesn't manage to withstand that kind of damage. And Tab coming back in, down below, forcing a lot of pressure onto these two front line. Both Muse and Violetta has to fall back. And honestly, 200 MS is going to look for this last recontest by the doorway.
I think this is better, especially because if you're able to get and trade picks, you have a closer respawn. But Vigilance is getting very aggressive there. Nice hack onto Wayfast. He could be dead.
Yeah, with that just constant applied aggression from Mikey, gets the takedown. Vigilante no longer there. So much relying on Dobby, but Dobby not free any longer because all of the clothes are taken back by Mikey. And you're just left to your own on this point where Uprising Academy is, you know, as much as we said Felines controlling, it is Mikey controlling for Uprising.
Mikey and Pizza Demon as well. Every time Mikey goes and gets a pile driver onto someone, there's immediately, like the snap of a finger, there's a Discord right there on that member, and it gets blown up. The coordination between Uprising Academy, they're feeling themselves right now, and it really shows in their play style. They just need to get it very close towards this white box of victory here. Felines has the EMP available to them, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to stop them because of how spread out Uprising Academy are playing. They're playing so well around this.
It's really going to rely on at least a couple great picks with a combination of the EMP as the Death Blossom to come close by. It's going to be Finale having to play very cautiously, actually holds on to it. Typically we see the combination to get a lot of value, but 200 MS actually doing very well to resist over committing to that.
A lot of ult patience, but unfortunately Mikey has the minefield. He's going to use it directly on that cart, and it's going to zone members away. They have to find a way to clear the cart.
With that aggression on the backside, looks for the minefield just overhead. Pile drive onto 2. Finale has to force that evasion and no longer has it to use aggressively. The Reaper v Reaper in the backside as Wayfast manages to take down the Death Blossom ultimate. You can see it just through the wall. 1-for-1 exchange though. Mikey is out of the fight, and that is a big
fast.
win, but Dredro comes back in with the res. Way fast and the death loss, and so much stacked up for Uprising. They are not out of this yet. They've got a few meters left to go. 2 minutes and 35 seconds, more than enough to turn this back. And a pulse bomb in the corner, doesn't matter if it whips. The last few of 200 MS need to be taken down, and the focus fire is just dropping a little bit here and allowing 200 MS to get back into this. And honestly, you may actually have 200 MS stick back into this with Felines coming back in and needs to stop Mikey in this front line pressure.
He has another minefield.
minefield.
He has another one, and they have to. The Summer has to translocate out. That means he's not there, and he doesn't have the EMP. Mikey again, the one to do it all on this map, will lead his team back from the brink in Uprising Academy. They're not done yet. They want the map 5. They want to try and attempt this reverse sweep as we're a 2-1 now. Map 6er, we said it. We leaked the script. It's a possibility.
I mean, it's just, my goodness. Just stay on the wrecking ball. Just stay on the wrecking ball.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just keep having the little hamster just roaming around. You've got the hamster versus the brilliant Winston. The dynamic is going to continue, and I'm just really, really impressed at how Uprising Academy is able to make these adjustments and changes and really putting, 200 MS into a very uncomfortable position. But we're going back to control now, and that is where 200 MS managed to take the first one. It wasn't overly dominant, but it was still a more methodical play, especially with how Feline's been doing on this Sombra.
And we'll have to see how at the next half of this break, how Uprising Academy is going to adapt. Are they just going to say, "We're with the Hammond feels good. We're loving the Hammond. We're going to keep it up"? We'll have to see on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere. Don't touch that browser. This game's not over.
Uprising Academy, they lay down the shatter, let the bodies hit the floor. Uprising Academy at 95%.
Right now with Hydra building up to this Bear Barrage so quickly.
Oh!
And asking!
Double kill in the back with the pulse bomb from the high ground. Aerial assault with that mine.
Impact se escucha debajo gritar campeón a Sky Foxes.
Holy cow.
And after 42 consecutive losses, the Shanghai Dragons get their first win.
8 teams enter this weekend.
Oh no, Reinhardt, what are you doing?
We've got a clip with minimal information. It's time to break it down. Speed, 25%. Go. Figure out what this man's SR is.
Keep fighting till it's for sure lost.
Winnable!
So you queue up for Overwatch Ranked, only to be greeted by this, which then leads to this, and oh no, Reinhardt, what are you doing? The solution? Elo Hell pickup games.
Hey, you know what? Just fucking do it.
Oh my god, it's huge! Oh no! Kill! Let's go!
Open to players of all ranks and most platforms, Pugs give you the chance to experience competitive Overwatch as it was meant to be played, competitively.
I need help.
I'm with you.
Shoot.
No way, dude.
Go. Let's go. Nice. Good call.
Players set their icons to indicate the role they want to play, then 2 captains pick their teammates and draft the most competitive teams they can. You can also take part in our pioneering learning event, Coached Pugs. To take part, join the Elo Hell Pickup Games Discord, and be sure to read the Pug Guide and FAQ. Good luck, have fun, and we'll see you in-game.
Welcome back to all of you as we continue this quite intense matchup for this Contenders NA spot. Kenobi, it's been a day so far for us, and we're gonna continue on now to a control map where that was a little bit of 200 MS's bread and butter at the start of this game. And Uprising Academy, though, scratching and clawing their way to not have a revisitation of how the last September's trials had gone before.
And on control, you're right. 200 MS had basically, it was pretty convincing, probably the most convincing map besides Eichenwald in the matchup. This match, it's gone back and forth between both these teams, and we're on Ilios where Hammond does have a lot of potential to pop off. And what we saw from Mikey on Junkertown, it is definitely something that we need to look out for on this matchup because he was phenomenal on Junkertown, and now going to Ilios, we have to see if he can replicate.
And we're going on to Lighthouse. So there is an opportunity for some environmental positioning. The Wrecking Ball also able to have a really, really nice trajectory using the grapple to get a knockout with those doorways. So there's a lot of opportunity, at least going out onto this first one, to use that Wrecking Ball to their advantage. If we do see that come out, I wouldn't be surprised if it did resort back to that Winston Diva play, which was still relevant. But because of how well, like you said, Mikey is playing, it's not out of the question.
Yeah, it's a little bit more standard, and the map type obviously on Junkertown allows more so for the opportunity to play Hammond because you're, going around those objectives. And here, you don't necessarily have the same type of geometry to roll around on when you're on that Hammond. So it looks like from what Uprising Academy is playing right now, they're hovering just traditional meta composition, I'd say, at the current moment. And when it was meta versus meta, that plays directly into 200 MS's wheelhouse, especially with the somber play coming from Felines. We have to be watching out for him. He was the star of the show, and he has to do it again for 200 MS to close out the series and take a 3-1 victory.
Will Tap from Uprising have learned enough going against Felines, who's done such a stellar job prior? And will 200 MS be able to drop Uprising Academy out once again? This map can be the determinant match point again here for 200 MS, as you've got Wayfast already getting the DMEC though onto Violetta, which is a great lead into this early engagement, something we didn't get to see the first time when these two were on control prior. Uprising gonna press in, has the Coalescence, just gets it before Vigilante by a good 30% here to sustain. The Micro Rockets come and take down the counterpart Diva out of the fight. Now you've got Uprising tanking this map first.
Yeah, but Diva is going to be back into this fight soon, and Felines, again, it's as it always is. He has EMP already much before Tap does, and they should be looking here to retake this point away from Uprising Academy. They also have Coalescence advantage.
Oh, does peek the corner, manages to get 4 bolt supports specifically are shut down, so there isn't the utility necessary, especially with Redro on that swap between the speed of sound and the speed of healing. We now have the 5 advantage for 200 MS, quickly going to take it, and that EMP was the gap close, but Tap, let's keep an eye on that.
And such good ultimate patience as well from Vigilante, who keeps his Coalescence, so that means coming into this next fight, now that Tap has that EMP, there is a safety net for the sound barrier. If both Dolby and Vigilante get hit, that's the worst case scenario, but now it doesn't seem as dangerous if only one of them gets hit, because there's always a way to keep themselves alive, and Pizza Demon going down, Rich, that means that there is no way Uprising Academy engages onto this. It's also going to put him behind in terms of that Coalescence charge as well, so everything, besides that first fight, is working in favor of 200 MS here.
And now again, stacked up with these ultimates, 200 MS in a prime position has just surpassed that 30%, so it was able to at least equalize at the moment the dive comes in up top, but a great hack comes out onto False, preventing the full dive coordination, leaving Mikey vulnerable up top, has to drop back down to give some assistance, and now it's where 200 MS had the advantage. Both support ultimates have been forced out. Muse also with the primal rage, but ultimates come out late here for Uprising Academy, and that self-destruct guarantees 2. The follow-up, it is just transition of focus. Mikey, the dominant play on Junkertown, and now False with this D.Va has found consistent value for Uprising Academy to start bringing this to 200 MS.
Great presence of mind from False, knowing and tucking that bomb or that self-destruct right directly into the point. These are just staggered kills, just trying to get 200 MS as much percentage as possible, and they're doing a pretty good job. They will get this towards that 85% most likely.
Yeah, especially when you have the hack, or the correction, the Sombra play in the corner just underneath it, but still worthwhile value. You've now got Uprising Academy having still a distance to cover, but Felines got this EMP along with the self-destruct to soon follow by 200 MS.
One of the oldest combos, self-destruct and EMP, and from what we've seen from Feline so far, these EMPs have been money each time we've seen them. We really have to be looking out for False to try and spy check.
Cash money, is it going to be found, or is it going to be all spent on ice cream somewhere in the distant future because it's hot outside? You've got now 200 MS coming in quickly with the immediate follow-up after Felines forces out the EMP. So it's going to be a take-back, but Uprising Academy can get back into this with a few percentage remaining, especially with Tap nearing that EMP.
And that EMP is going to be what decides this map here. If Uprising Academy can win this next fight, they're going to be able to get one last defense of their own. But for 200 MS, you win this and you take an early lead in this Ilios round. You go with all of the momentum into that second point. And you have to be looking out for Vigilante here on this Moira. Has to be able to dodge that EMP.
Yeah, dodging the EMP is critical in these moments. Overtime begins. Self-destruct overhead going to come out by Violetta, throwing it inside, manages to get Pizza Demon. You cannot afford to lose that support so early, and then the rest just fall in suit. 200 MS dominating despite the early percentage gain by Uprising Academy. And now 200 MS is only one round away from pushing Uprising Academy out once again, a consecutive NA Contenders trials.
And Tap was so focused on hacking the Moira that he wasn't in the fight and able to use EMP. And if you're 200 MS, huge props to them for taking advantage of the fact that they know that EMP is nowhere near them currently. They can play a little bit more on the aggressive side, even though they don't have the sustain coming from that Moira player in Coalescence. So 200 MS, again, it seems like they have such a good understanding of how to win the mirror composition between these two comps, because when you had some different wrinkles from Uprising Academy, it looked a lot better for them, but here in the mirror versus mirror, they just have a phenomenal understanding of every single win condition that they need to use. And if you've got someone like Felines who's farming EMP basically every single fight, it makes this composition even more deadly.
Absolutely, extremely deadly, and this first takedown is going to be very, very telling in deadliness as a hack comes out onto False, preventing that defense matrix in the backside. Uprising Academy has to fall back and needs to be extremely careful. They have so many low health values. Wave Fast does go down. The follow-up dive comes through and just obliterates Uprising Academy with a swiftness. And my goodness, 200 MS.
I mean, we've been saying it the entire series so far. It's Felines again. Felines is taking over this game completely right now. He's hacking the D.Va. You can see Finale has 93% towards his ultimate because the D.Va keeps getting hacked, and he can just rain in free damage. So the coordination again from 200 MS looking so crisp and clean. EMP very close for Felines. If you're Uprising Academy, your best bet is that you force it out this fight.
There's a very aggressive dive coming through by Uprising Academy. Does get the hack onto Violetta, but it's not going to last long enough as Finale comes in with a triple. Does get that combination with Feline. The well-organized Death Blossom EMP prevails in this time. And now 200 MS, still continuing to hold, but there is still a little bit of time left for Uprising.
The ultimate economy is in the favor right now of 200 MS still, but Rich, there is that great equalizer on the other side. You've got that EMP from Tap. And that could really be what turns this game around. 50% for 200 MS. Tap has to make something happen here with a combo, with either a self-destruct or with something like a Death Blossom. But that's a huge dive. I mean, perfect execution already coming out from 200 MS.
If there were judges on the sidelines right now, that would be a 3-10 cards popping up. Muse with the Primal Rage to continue dominating on the stragglers that remain for Uprising Academy. Muse just enjoying life right now.
I mean, it's great when he has the ability to just get free kills, because Felines is in the backline hacking people, and Felines is like, bro, come over here. Here's a free Lucio kill. Okay, great. Now the Lucio's dead. We just turn around and win the fight with Primal Rage. Uprising Academy on their last legs here. They have their last set of ultimates for this round. They have to make something happen here, but Tap gets scouted out already.
Oh, and on the side, you almost get a pick on a finale. There comes the EMP with the now Sound Barrier giving some assistance. Both sides, self-destruct coming out from False to try and pick up 2 members. But oh my goodness, Felines holds on to it. The combination again as Finale manages to clean up. That is going to be what a absolute dominant fashion here on this control point. 200 MS takes the win, and once again Uprising wallowing in their seats right now, feeling the same pain that they felt in September will come once again in October. Trick or treat, friends, but there is no candy in your pumpkin-shaped basket.
And that was convincing. A statement game at the end there from Felines, and I mean, or from 200 MS, right? I say Felines because it felt like he was the entire team, but everyone else pulled their weight. And what a way to end the series with a combination from Felines on the EMP and then Finale with that Reaper. I mean, just incredible coordination coming out from 200 MS between their Winston player, between their Diva, their Sombra, everyone. When it's a mirror composition, seems to be on the same page, and it just, I'm scared actually. If I'm a team in Contenders, like proper for this tournament, 200 MS is a team that I'm scared to play.
Yeah, when you've got that type of just follow through, it's absolutely unreal. And we're going to be able to get an opportunity to speak with them specifically here coming up in just a moment. We have an interview to talk with 200 MS, one of their players, to really give us some insight and how just overall they were able to claim this over Uprising Academy. So don't go anywhere, my friends, because we are really interested to see what they have to say. Welcome back, friends. We are lucky enough to have the captain of 200 MS coming out and speaking with us. It's the coach, correction, that we do have. It is Mo Boogie. How are you, my friend? It is a pleasure to take just a few moments of your time. How are you feeling after that round?
Oh, it's very fantastic that we reached the contenders right now. I'm feel very happy right now. And
Well, I mean,
uh,
as you should. And how was it when you guys were like thinking about this game? Was there like nervousness going along, or were you just like, we're just gonna play our style, we're gonna try our best to do what we do best in playing that Reaper Sombra comp?
um, just we just focus to not to make a mistakes is because when you check the Junkertown that we are very very not good at on that in that map, right? Well, ours
It
win
could have been
rate
it
on
could have been
Junkertown is,
better.
yeah, it could have been better. So before yesterday is almost like oh, we can, how should what should we do, but right
Mhm.
now that's we getting more better right now, so I'm very pleasure to our players right now.
Mhm. To build on the Junkertown map, did you
Hmm.
feel that that was a map you just outright struggled on, or is that just one where you felt that Uprising really did play better against you?
mm, I think that the Uprising team is a good team, but
Mhm.
uh that our teams keep mistakes when we're Junkertown, so
Mhm.
I think we are not better than them right now, and especially Junkertown.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you displayed that you are very, very dominant in control, and that
Mhm.
came for sure through
Mhm.
multiple shows.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Can you can you also tell us about how you're playing felines? Because felines throughout a lot of that is like, I'm looking and he's like
Mhm.
40% above tap all the time. Is that just like him being a god at Sombra, or do you have like a specific strat where you're just like propping him up?
I grow up him a lot. Just 1 month, just 1 month. That the he keeps struggle to keep improve himself. So I keep grow him up. So this
Mhm.
is the reason why he became the good Sombra player right now.
Well, you
Hey,
did a great job.
having
He's grown. He's
yeah.
grown right now after that performance. He is
Yeah,
grown
yeah.
up.
Yeah,
Yep.
definitely some serious mentorship and, overseeing how to grow as a player, and
Uh-huh.
it reflects very, very much so.
Yeah.
And now is it just kind of like is it as a specific style that drives you, like just focusing on how you use that? Like, what do you do really more so to help build up players like that? To, like you're saying, is like there's a lot of growth that happened.
Hmm.
What do
Hmm.
you, really lean on to help you develop a player like that?
There's a lot of styles to run the competition, right? When
Mhm.
I check the Overwatch League, then analyze all the team strategy. What is then I think about the what style that our players gonna be run good at it. Then I I choose it. Then player says, okay, then I can handle like this style competition. Then we go with
Mhm.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
all.
it works out pretty well, and I mean, again, huge congratulations to you guys for
Mhm.
making it all the way to contenders. We're gonna see you in the tournament. I'm very excited to see you. I said at the end of the broadcast, I said I'm scared for other teams who are gonna meet you in the bracket, because if there's a team in this meta I don't want to play Sombra Reaper meta into, it's you guys. I don't want to see you guys in Sombra Reaper meta. You guys are so good. So again, big congratulations. Do you have any shout outs that you want to give fans, coaches, or other coaches, staff,
uh,
players, anything like that?
okay, I'm gonna shout out to all my team players and all those coaching staffs and all the evac 200 ms fan of 200 ms. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot. Okay.
Well, it's fantastic to have had the few minutes of your time. Thank you so very much for giving them to us. Time to go for you and your players to celebrate this win, and looking forward to seeing you continue on in the the higher bracket. Now you're going to contenders and and
Yeah.
moving out of trials. So we wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and happy gaming to you, and continue just doing what you're doing and bringing your team to a very, very elevated position.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for the
Very much.
interview.
No problem.
Take care, my friend. And for those of you that are tuning in, you did see quite a intense match. And yes, as Kenobi said it, it is a force to be reckoned with moving into that next level, going to NA contenders. So it has been a thrill for us to have you here today. And honestly, just being able to tune in to this long extended matchup where we unfortunately saw Uprising Academy be knocked out once again. Kenobi, it's a pleasure as always. I mean, honestly,
Yep.
I can't ever not go into these matches like this feeling thrilled to have moments with you, just as today, especially if we hung a little bit onto the fantasy of both Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Yeah. It was great. It was a lot of fun. And just to recap for everyone who maybe just be tuning in now, you're from Group A. You are having Odyssey and 200 MS who are going to be going to that contenders tournament. There is still the Group B matches going on, I believe. So Tier 2's not done. Keep supporting wherever you are, whoever you are. And we will see you next time, right, Rich?
Yes, indeed. But before we do end it, we also want to mention for the tier 3 opportunity, which is where we're talking about Trials of Champions, where we have that first third-party event to be officially included in the Overwatch Path to Pro system. Prizes include a $3,000 prize pool for the top 3 teams sponsored by Blizzard, and 2 final opportunities to be selected in NA Contenders Trials starting in this late October. And the signups are open, so you have the chance to do that now for a for a tier 3 team, and the games do start on October 14th. So go ahead, make sure that you head to the elohell.gg /TOC. Again, that is elohell.gg /TOC. And I mean, seriously, if you feel like you want to be involved, you want to be right here to strut your stuff, definitely do that. And I mean, it's like I said, it's been a pleasure. Everyone that's involved in this has been awesome. And the fact that you can now be involved in Trials of Champions is a fantastic opportunity for you to demonstrate your gameplay. So for all of us here, we hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care, happy gaming, and as always, we'll see you next time.